How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go down and subscribe to the channel before we get started into today's video. Today I want to talk about 5 cars I think are going to be really good sports cars for the $10,000 to $15,000 price point. I'm going to try my best to keep it under $10,000 for these cars. Going into 2023, that under $10,000 price point has honestly just been taken away from car enthusiasts. All cars spiked in the COVID market, and honestly, there aren't too many good options. But going into 2023, I think there's going to be a market correction, and I'm giving you guys 5 cars that you can go out and buy right now for under $10K that I think won't get affected by this market too much, and some of them might have the opportunity to appreciate after everything's kind of said and done. That being said, the first 2 cars I have on my list are 2 cars that I am very familiar with and I actually own myself. So the first car I'm going to bring to the list is the BMW Z3. Now, I have a BMW Z3M. I absolutely love the platform. The M costs a little bit more than $10K, costs about double that, to be honest with you. But lower mileage Z3s, you can get 4 cylinders, you can get 6 cylinders, they have plenty of power and they're plenty of fun. Convertible 2-door cars, and honestly, there's not too much that goes wrong with them either. They're affordable, they're fun, they look good in my opinion, and they're honestly pretty quick. Now, the Z3 will have a little higher maintenance cost than the second car on this list, but overall I think the Z3 is a brilliant car, and if you're looking to get a car under 10K, looking to have a little bit of fun on the weekends, it would be a perfect car for you. If you're not looking to have the BMW unreliability on your hands and not be spending BMW prices and the BMW tax, and you wanted something a little more Japanese, the second car I'm going to have on the list is the Mazda Miata. Now, I own a 1990 Mazda Miata. There are first and second gen cars that are going to cost under $10,000. Either where you go, you can get a really solid car for just a little over $5K. Lower mileage, pretty reliable cars overall, not too much that goes wrong with them other than some age things, and they're easy to work on. There's not too much that you would have to do, but if something did come up, you should be able to figure it out yourself, even if you're not a technician or work on cars for your whole life. You should be able to get into it. It's a very entry-level car. It's much easier to drive than the Z3 is going to be, and just honestly, it's a very fun and throwable car, and at the same time, you're not going to be worried about things like it being imperfect, or you're going to take a little more care of a BMW because you might not want things to break, but with a Miata you wouldn't be really too concerned about it, which is always fun, and having a car you can kind of just drive and drive hard and not be worried about anything is always great, and the Mazda Miata is one of the best cars. Now, the Miata is probably going to make everyone's list at all times for cars under $10,000. I don't see these cars going under $5K for really nice examples. At this point in time, they're kind of around that $5,000 to $7,000 range for the first generation, the NAs with the flip-ups. They used to be $500. They're never going to be that much anymore. I honestly think they're going to hold very solid. The Z3, I think, is going to appreciate a little bit once this market is said and done. I think it's a little underrated being so cheap. You can find those cars at $6,000 to $7,000 in some cases for nice examples. You can get under $5,000 if you want something with a little bit of a project to it. Mazda Miata is the same way. You can definitely get one under $5,000. I would stay away from rusted examples though. This third car is a little different. I thought I'd bring it into the mix because not too many people talk about it, and that would be the Honda Prelude. There's a couple of other Hondas you can get. You can get Civics, CRXs, and all of those, but I honestly think the Prelude is a very good bargain car. You have lots of space, you can daily drive it, it has a decent amount of power, it's still a VTEC car, and you can get them in a manual transmission, and it's still an enthusiast car, plus they don't make Preludes anymore. There's not too many good examples that run the streets around the Midwest, I can tell you that for sure. So they might be a little harder to come by, but they're not a ton of money. They're still super fun cars for what they are. And I think the Prelude, whatever generation you go with, you want a flip-up light car, you want a fixed beam headlight car, there are plenty of great options out there for Honda Preludes, and not too many people talk about them, but Honda reliability, good gas mileage, and it's a pretty fun and peppy car. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but for under 10K, what more could you ask for? Now, This next car, if you're looking for a little bit more power and a little bit less quality overall, you'll see what I mean in a second, is probably something that you'd want to go with. Gas mileage is not the strong suit of this car because it's a V8, and that has to be the C4 Corvette. I think these cars are still super underrated, probably one of the cheapest Corvettes you can buy. Not everyone's forte. It looks a little funky. I think it looks cool. It's of its era, and it's definitely aged, but sometimes that age can be really fun. There are plenty of great examples of C4s out there for under $10,000. Manual cars and low mileage cars included. You can get automatic middle mileage cars for under $5,000 in some cases. I think the C4 Corvette is an absolute bargain of a car at this point in time, and honestly, if I didn't have my Miata NZ, I might look into getting a C4 Corvette. They're just cool cars, and you can definitely get them for a really cheap price. You know, a car like a Miata has a ton of aftermarket support, while the C4 Corvette never really got too much love, so there's pros and cons to it, but I think it still deserves to be brought to the list of cars under $10,000 that you should look into. The last car, in my opinion, is something really cool, and that has to be the Acura RSX. Front-wheel drive, manual, VTEC, super peppy. I've always wanted an RSX. I think they look awesome. They can be modded. There's a ton of potential there. They're good on gas. They're reliable. They're also Hondas at the end of the day, just a little bit nicer on the inside. I just love how this car looks, and I think for under 10K, it has a classic, sleek design to it, and it's very much still a sports car underneath everything. So I definitely think that the RSX deserves to be on this list. I'll give you guys a couple of honorable mentions for under 10K. You can get a G35 Coupe. It's essentially a Nissan Z, a little heavier or just a little more luxury than a Nissan 350Z. They're slowly becoming harder and harder to find good examples of. They're getting more and more beat up every day. Same thing happened with the 350Z, and the 350Zs have appreciated so much. I think those, once the market cools, are going to be, again, not for beginners. The 350Z is a little hard of a car to drive, but it's going to be on that list of cars under 10K, so it's definitely should have been on the list, but number one, I think it's kind of overdone. The Miata is also a little overdone, but the Z just appreciated like crazy. Any Z you're looking at nowadays is between $12,000, and I don't think those cars can justify that much money at this point in time. Another car to keep your eye on would be the C5 Corvette. I think depending on how the market crashes, could touch under $10,000, and if they do that, a manual, nice example Corvette with the C5 generation would be a no-brainer pickup, and I would even be inclined to pick one of those up myself if they came that far down. The C4 Corvette is a little weird in terms of its looks. It's still a great car, but the C5 is just that car and so much more. It still has flip-ups and it looks so sleek. I love the C5 Corvette, and keep your eyes out for that if that car ever depreciates. If you're looking to get a car under $10,000, I think these 5-7 cars are kind of no-brainer options, just a good guideline to go off of. There are plenty of other great cars that are under that $10,000 price point. That's all I have for this video though. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.